All praise going on is most certainly due to the most high God, the faith, our Savior, and Isaac and Jacob. Peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother Elisha, of the house of faith. And I count it you a blessing each and every single time that I can come before the preach the word of God. And I count it as a light thing to do so. All right, brothers and sisters. I want to get right into today's topic. And the title is The Antichrist. The Antichrist. And it's there's a tumultuous time that will come upon the world known as the Great Tribulation. And during the Great Tribulation, one will arise, one will emerge out of all of humanity. That man is the abomination of desolation, the man of sin, the son of perdition, commonly referred to as the Antichrist. And so we want to look at that and what the Bible has to say. And we want to start off in Matthew, the 24th chapter, because there have been many misconceptions and people who were perceived or thought to be the Antichrist. Some say it was Hitler. Others said it was Emperor Nero. People right now are saying they've left messages on some of my videos and saying it was it's Donald Trump. And before that, they not realizing something. They said it was Obama. And before that, you know who they said? It was Reagan. Okay. I talk about that in my book. Also, for then shall be great tribulation. But it's none of them, those men. But Matthew, the 24th chapter, because we want to find out the warning that the Messiah came concerning this one to come in the last days. So it says in Matthew, the 24th chapter, it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the third verse, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Okay, so one of the first warnings he gave in verse 4, it says, and Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So he said, many are going to come and say, he the Messiah, but they're going to deceive you. As Paul said, some will come preaching another Jesus and another gospel with another spirit. He says in verse 6, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. It says, hold on for a second. I'm going to answer that. Let me finish this verse. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Let me ask Corey Smith, why do you say, will the Antichrist be a black man? If you could answer that question for me, I'd appreciate it. Why do you think that to be the case? And as you do that, I'm going to continue to read. Skip down to verse 15, because here is not you read this account in the Gospels, there's not a, oh, okay. Well, the true Judeans, the true Israelites were black, but no, he won't be. I'm gonna show you who he is in this lesson. Okay, we're gonna identify him in this lesson. So now this is verse 15. It says, when ye therefore shall see, this is a big sign, right? It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Okay, so now he's referring you back unto Daniel. Just like Daniel was reading the book of Jeremiah to understand the 70 weeks, which was 70 years, weeks of years, prophetic. You need to go back to the book of Daniel to understand what's going on with this man of sin. It says, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Let's go back to Daniel, read a little bit about him. Daniel the 11th chapter. What's written in Daniel pertaining to this one that was to come into the world? Well, several things. Let's just read one right now concerning what he will do. Now, in Daniel the 11th chapter, we read about Antiochus Epiphanes initially. Antiochus Epiphanes is a shadow of the this man of sin that is to come, who goes into the temple. He defiles the temples, offers swine on the altar. Okay, that's abominable. But this man of sin, he's going to be abominable because his presence in a particular place. We don't get there, but let's see what he does. It says in Daniel 11 chapter verse 36, this is not talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. It says, and the king shall do according to his will, because this man is also a monarch, if you will, a king. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself, and I'll explain that later. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god. Okay? And shall, now understand, this, I'm going to just tell you now, I'm going to prove it to you. The one I'm talking about, the one that's coming, who is the man of sin, the son of perdition, the abomination of desolation, is none other than the Pope of Rome. Okay? Now, when it says he exalts himself above every god, they have blasphemous titles. Vicar of Christ being one of them, replacement for the Son of God. That's what he says he is. Okay? Servant of servants. God on earth. It says, that's what they've said. I'm saying the one coming out of that office. Is it Francis? I'm not even saying he slapped somebody the other day, by the way. That's just, but she said, don't put your hands on me, slap somebody. But I'm saying he's coming out of that office. Okay, nevertheless, it says, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women. Okay? Nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. Okay? And it says, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces or fortresses. Then it says, and the God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. His power is coming from a different place. And we're going to see that when we read further. But that's just a little bit about him. Now let's go back to Matthew 24, because it said he's going to stand in a particular place. It says Matthew 24, chapter verse 15, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, this abominable man, and he's about destruction. It says, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. What is the holy place? The holy place, brothers and sisters, is the temple. That's the holy place. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, because there Paul tells you about this one that will come and stand in this particular place. This is 2 Thessalonians, the first chapter, the second chapter, 2 Thessalonians 2, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Because here he's talking about what's going to happen prior to the coming of the Messiah. Remember, they asked him, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 1. It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him. Now he writes in this epistle, he goes on to say that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. He's telling you, don't be dismayed concerning the Messiah's return, because something has to happen first. What has to happen first? He says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. What day? The day of his return. Except there come a falling away first. So for number one, there has to be a falling away. A falling away from what? A falling away from the truth. Now you see that today. But then it says, peace to you, brother. But then it says something else. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That one I said, the man of sin, the son of perdition. So now it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worship. We read about that exhortation, or the exaltation, not exhortation, but exaltation in Daniel. He puts himself above all God. It said, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God. To understand the blasphemy of this, to say, he literally said, I'm talking about the popes in history. You can read where it said, I'm replacing the Son of God. What Bible verse is that where he need a replacement? He's infallible when he speaks from the position of his office. Where do you read that? He's a false prophet. So it said, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worship, so that he asked God, listen to this. So he asked God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. We therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. The holy place, brothers and sisters, is the temple. Now, we should understand, if you know anything about history or the Bible, you understand that the temple was destroyed. The second temple was destroyed by Titus and the Romans around 70 AD. Okay, so there's no temple now. So before this takes place, understand a temple will be built. Now, there's a push to build the temple. They have the plans. They have their so-called Kohanim, their priests in training. Some reports say they have more than one red heifer. I've heard a report from an official at the Temple Institute stating that now I don't know if things have changed, or if that heifer was deemed not to be pure, had a blemish or something, but they have that. They have all the manure. They have everything that you would need for sacrifice. Only thing they need is political expedience. They need a particular moment to where they can actually build the temple. Okay, that's all they need. That's all they need, and that's why even Netanyahu, he's complimenting the president of the United States, and you even saw coins being minted with the image of Cyrus of old, king of Persia, and next to his image, you see the image of Donald Trump, because they liken him to that king. And what did that king do that was significant? He put into motion, after the invasion and toppling of Israel in 586 by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians, Cyrus, years later, he put into motion these decrees allowing Israel to go back and to rebuild the temple. Okay? So now it says in verse 4, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, so what is he going to do? He's going to stand in the temple. The temple hasn't been built yet, but it is going to be built. Let's go to Daniel. Back to Daniel. We're going to go to the 7th chapter and see something that he's going to do. Because if we would have kept reading Matthew 24, it says, for then shall be, he tells you to flee into the mountains. He said, why? For then shall be great tribulation. It was great tribulation. It was a tumultuous time, rather, when Titus and the Romans came. Because he understand a prophecy there. It's like twofold. And oftentimes you will see the destruction of Israel related to the destruction that's to come. Okay? So now, he said, you see all these, understand there will be a time when there will be one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. He was looking at the temple at the time. So now they were like, that's when they were like, wait a minute. Tell us, when shall these things be? But then they said, and what shall be the sign of that coming in of the end of the world? So we understand, if you read other writings of that particular time about that account, and you read it says that it was like the temple was not even there. That Wailing Wall is not the temple. That's not a part of the temple. It was like they said, it was like the temple was not even there. Okay? Now let's go back to Daniel. So what's going to happen in these days to come, rather, is that there's going to be a temple that's built, and what these people who claim to be God's chosen people are going to do is they are going to reestablish sacrifices, daily sacrifices, and he's going to cause that to stop. He's going to go in the temple. And then what else is he going to do? This is Daniel the 7th chapter and verse 24. It says, in the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. This is talking about this one that's to come. It says, and he shall, we know it's talking about future because it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. Again, he's a blasphemer like we read in Daniel 11 chapter. And he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. When is he going to do that? He's going to do that during the Great Tribulation. It says, we're going to read about it, but it says, and think to change times and laws. Now, how long is he going to be in power like this? And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. 3.5 years, 42 months, 1,260 days. That's the time of the what? Of the Great Tribulation. We're talking about future here. We're talking about future. Now let's go back to, let's go to Revelation, rather. Revelation, the 13th chapter, and read, because it said he's going to wear out the saints. Let's see what this man is going to be doing. This is not Donald Trump, okay? This ain't your fire. This ain't him. This ain't that builder of the Trump Towers and the chief, commander-in-chief. The one they just made a spectacle trying to and talking about he's impeached. He will still be president. At least it looks that way. Unless something happens. But he is not the Antichrist. Please stop leaving that in my messages. Revelation, the 13th chapter, I'm going to pick it up in verse 11 because it's talking about him here. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and caused the earth, and then was dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Now listen to what he's doing, and tell me, do this sound like the one that give Big Macs at the White House? He doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So you telling me Trump is going to make fire come down from heaven? Like lightning? No. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. So he gonna make a beast, like an image of the beast, this statue, or this image. And listen to verse 15. Listen to the power that this man have, and he gets his power through Satan. It says that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Remember how we read in Daniel about what kind of man this was. He dealing with a power, with an entity that they ain't really dealing with like that. He getting power directly from that wicked, from Satan. Then it says he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So now you telling me Donald Trump it's not Donald Trump. Rather, it's that one coming out of that office. We're gonna find out. Keep reading. It says again, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So if you don't worship, you be killed. Just like, now look at the precedent set in the days of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and how they made an image back in those days. It was just a statue, though. And Nebuchadnezzar wanted them to worship. And they said, be it known to thee, O king. You know, our God is able to save us, because their punishment for not doing it would be to be cast into a burning fiery furnace. They said, be it known to thee, okay, we know that our God is able to save, but if not, let it be known we will not worship the image which thou hast set up. Okay. Now they were willing to give up their lives. They didn't know if they was going to be delivered. They got delivered, but understand, this man of sin, this son of perdition, is going to do it in these days. It's going to be different. He's going to be deceiving people. He's going to be making lightning come down from heaven. He's going to cause this statue. It says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Isn't it ironic that they're always, in the Catholic religion, they're always looking for some statue to do something? Last time I saw a story like that, it was about a statue. I forget what state it was in. Everybody was coming from miles around because there was oil coming out of this statue. I believe it was coming out of the eyes of the statue. Some kind of oil. I think it was olive oil. There ain't no way to. Now, whether or not somebody was with a pump somewhere, nobody know they're pumping oil out the statue. I don't know. Or you see these statues that are bleeding. What do you need that for? Why you bow down to these statues of Mary in the first place? And ironic that Mary takes precedent over Jesus in the Catholic religion. You're supposed to be praying to Mary. She your intercessor, according to them. She the queen of heaven, according to them. But nevertheless, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. What is this mark? It could be RFID, it could be E-Tattoo, it could be some other type of technology. But understand, it hasn't, even if somebody took an RFID chip right now, that's not the mark of the beast. What I mean by that is, it haven't even happened yet to wait. I'm not saying you should put that in your body, you shouldn't. What I'm saying is that at this time, it's gonna be associated with your worship during the Great Tribulation. Because the reason I'm pointing that out is because you have a lot of Israelites who are saying that that's happening right now. No, the technology might exist right now that will be utilized at this particular time in the future during Great Tribulation. But if somebody is foolish enough to take an RFID chip in them right now, that has nothing to do with the beast or the false prophet. That's not, because it's not established yet. It has to. This is happening during Great Tribulation. But now understand, if you don't take this mark, what's happening? And verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So if you don't take it at this time, you can't buy or sell. That's very difficult. You can't buy food. You can't make economic transactions. Now, why is it important that you hold up finger here? We're going to find out why it's important that you don't take this mark. We're going to go right into the 14th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 9. Revelation 14 and 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So what's going to happen if you take the mark of the beast? See, it's important we know what to do. And if you foolish enough to be waiting on the rapture or deceived enough, because oftentimes you would tell people all the time, there's no rapture, right? You say, well, they might be ignorant. Then you read it to them over and over and over again how there's no rapture and how they read things out of context. And you give them the background of history. Then you get to be, that's foolish. I know it's a rapture. No, it's not. There is no rapture. So imagine if you're waiting on a rapture that does not take place, and you see all these terrible things taking place on the earth. Your faith shattered. What you gonna do when you see it? What you gonna do? You gonna probably take that mark. Now, you said it'll change your entire DNA makeup. Explain. I don't even. Never mind. This is verse. I'm in verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. That's what you need to be worried about. If you take this mark, you're going to hell. Don't take the mark of the beast. There's no, well, he will want me to save my life. No, you don't see that in scripture. You don't see that in New Testament writings. No. You try to save your life or lose it. He who gives up his life will save it. No, he's not telling you, go save your life and take the mark of the beast and worship falsely. No, he's not saying. The precedent was set with the 3 Hebrew boys. So it says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke, verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast, neither his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. If you take that mark, that's why it's so important. If you take that mark, you're going to the lake of fire. Now let's go back to Revelation 13 in verse 17. So it says, and that no man might buy, sell, say that he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. So now you're not to do that. But then he says something else. Here is wisdom. So here we want to get to how you identify who this man is. It says, and here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, 666. Well, you know, that's something you often hear that number. We understand that we're familiar with the number, but not familiar with how you get to the number. Some people say, well, it's Ronald Reagan. He got, you know, in his name, 666. One, it might have been Reagan, had an address, 666, I write about it in my book. I can't remember right offhand what president it was, but they literally changed the address. Because again, people say it might have been Bush. Because he was also, they say he the Antichrist. Okay? That's not uncommon. A lot of times you have powerful men in powerful positions, they'll say they're the Antichrist. Like, share, and subscribe, by the way, brothers and sisters. But no. What it is it's a title that's associated with the Pope. And the title is Vicarious Filii. Vicarious Filii, when you in Roman numeral, it's in Latin, and when you add up those letters, the Roman numerals, you find that it adds up to 666. So the V is 5, the I is 1, the C is 100, the A is 0, the R is 0, the I is 1, the U is 5, the S is 0. That's 112. Filii, to spell F-I-L-I-I. The F has no value. The I is 1. The L is 50. And the two I's that come after the L are 1. That's 53. Then you got day. Okay. D is 500. E has no value. And the I is 1. That's 501. 112 plus 53 plus 501 is, again, 112 plus 53 plus 501 is 666. And Vicarious Filii means what? Replacement for the Son of God, the Vicar of Christ, right? That's what this man says. And that's why he's an abomination. Now let's go to last place. Let's go to Daniel. Back to Daniel, 11th chapter. The 11th chapter and verse 41, because we're going to see what's going to happen ultimately to this man. It says in verse 41, Daniel 11 and 41, he shall enter also into the glorious land. That's the promised land. And many countries shall be overthrown. He's going to overthrow these countries. Then it said, but it says, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. I don't believe that's a coincidence. He's not going to be able, I don't believe that's a coincidence that he's not able to take those places. Then it says, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. I don't believe, let me say this. The reason Edom, Moab, and Ammon, I believe that he's not able to get those places because that's a place of safety. That's what I believe. But nevertheless, verse 42, he shall stretch forth his hand. That's in present day Jordan, by the way. He said, also upon the countries and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power. Just let me go back to that. Now, I'll probably touch upon that tomorrow. But if you look at it, Moab, Edom, and Ammon, if you look at an old map, old biblical map of where those places are, that's the place where they're not going to be able to get to. And that today, that would be considered present day Jordan. But it says, so back to, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. Like, share, subscribe, brothers and sisters. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. Now, he's going to be taking over these countries, but what's going to happen? But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. He's going to be in conflict with those Russia and China, her allies. They're coming from the east and from the north. They are the ones that are coming. Gog and Magog. They're the ones that are coming, and they're going to be fighting this one. You got basically the east and the west fighting. Notice the United States is not a prominent player here that you read about. So that indicates, it seems to indicate a fall in status. Understand, this country rose to prominence very quickly, and it could be that it falls just as quickly. But nevertheless, it says, but tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. I want to read one other place because he's going to be destroyed. This is Revelation, the 19th chapter. It says in verse 19, because understand these armies are coming to do battle, and they're gonna be gathered together in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And he's gonna judge them there. He's gonna bring them all there, and then they go look up and try to fight him, and he's gonna destroy them here. That's in the battle of Armageddon. But what's gonna happen at the battle at that time? Verse 20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. So now that false prophet is talking about that man of sin, the son of perdition, the abomination of desolation. It says that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. So you had this military / political type figure, and then you had that religious one, just like the dualistic system of a rulership that Rome always had, because he's coming out of Rome. Okay, so now you got that religious leader and that political / military leader. They both gonna be cast into the lake of fire. They're the first ones cast into the lake of fire. They're gonna be burning there at the beginning of the 1,000-year millennial reign, and at the end of the 1,000-year millennial reign, Satan's gonna be cast into the lake of fire where the beast and the false prophet are. All right. So that's just a little bit about what the one they call the Antichrist. Okay. That man of sin, that son of perdition, the abomination of desolation. With that, brothers and sisters, I want to remind you to with the household of faith meet every Sabbath at 5925 West 25th Avenue in Gary, Indiana, at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We live stream right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel, as well as at www.israelteach.org. If you've been edified through our ministry, you can go to our website, www.israelteach.org, and leave a donation. 100% of the proceeds go to the work of the ministry. We also have Bible study every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can see a description right here in the description box of this video. It's on zoom.us. We did that every Friday night from starting at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. The personal meeting ID number is in there if you would like to take part in that. You're welcome. You can ask questions, and of course, in an orderly fashion. And also books that are available on Amazon.com. Into Egypt Begin with Ships, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays, Hail Like Wool, Feel Like Burned Brass, Killing Black Innocence, and For Then Shall Be Great Tribulation. And then there will be another book coming very, very shortly. I'll give you more information about that in the time to come. All praise to the Most High, brothers and sisters, for you being here and listening, and all praise to the Most High for any edification. He is worthy to be praised. And if I can remember it, this brother said, can you do a mind doing a subject on a rolling position of the Gentiles in the kingdom of heaven? Okay. I'm not saying I won't. I just know I probably won't do that next. But I could probably, if I remember, I probably have to write it down to remember to do something about that. And we're doing nothing right now. This memory card about to go out. But I'll try to do something in the next coming days. Maybe not, because it's already gonna be Thursday tomorrow. I'm not gonna do it probably tomorrow, and then Friday night Bible study. If you come to Bible study, I could probably deal with it, or I could do it maybe maybe Sunday or something like that. I have to write it down to remember. But we'll see. So I'm not saying yes for certain, but we'll see. And with that, brothers and sisters, it's always my prayer that you are edified.